Alright, so boom. This Huncho reacts and I'm making a alright, so boom. We coming back with an informative video. Today we're gonna do our video on the psychology of first impressions and how they can be good and how they can be bad for you based on how you do those things, right? So let's start off with a quick example. How many times have you come across somebody in an aggressive way and they denied you off bat? How many times has that happened to you and you tried to double back and it didn't work again? How many times have you went to a job interview and put on a first impression and you actually got the job? How many times has that happened? Now let's go into the definition of first impressions. First impressions are the initial judgments people make about others upon meeting them. So basically, when you meet somebody for the first time, or when you meet somebody you haven't met in a long time, or you haven't seen in a long time, that'll be the initial first impression, right? So why I make this video? Because you got a lot of people who missing out on good opportunities because of the impression that they put out there to the public. You have a lot of people who are good video photographers, who are good YouTubers, content creators, etc. But their first impressions is what draw people away from them. I'll give you plenty of examples. You got people like Neon, right? If y'all played 2K back then, you got people like Neon. Neon actually faked his death for views a while back, right? So now a lot of people see Neon as weird or whatever the case may be. That's because of the impression that he put out for the public. The impression that he put out was, okay, cool, I'm gonna do anything to get these views, and I'm gonna say anything to get these views, right? A real person, a real genuine person, right, that knows right from wrong will initially say, okay, cool, Neon is that type of dude, and I'm gonna stay away from that type of dude. There's a lot of examples, honestly, about first impressions, etc. But we're gonna stay on, right? We're gonna stay on definition here, right? Okay. We're gonna stay on definition. So first impressions are the initial judgments people make about others upon meeting them, and they can have a significant and lasting impact. These judgments are formed quickly, often within seconds, based on limited information, and can be influenced by various factors such as appearance, body language, and even the context of the encounter, right? So, and you have a lot of people who have weird intentions, and you have a lot of people who have weird intentions, right? Despite your good intentions, right? You may come across somebody that you see as beautiful, or somebody that you possibly have to coerce with, okay? First impression, right? So your first impression, your first impression and her first impression are going to be totally different. One of you may have an agenda, right? You may want to do something with her, or she may want to do something with you. She may want to set you up, or you may want to set her up. So it's always wise to be mindful of the first impressions and be mindful of what comes out of people's mouths, because a lot of the times people aren't conscious of what they're saying. They just go with their move, and initially, by going with their move, that's gonna open up everything. It's gonna be like the Matrix. You're gonna see everything for what it is, based off of the first impression, okay? So let's see if we can find some videos so I can go into detail, right? Right, we got a video, right? 6 common mistakes that ruin first impressions, right? I'm gonna watch this and I'm gonna pause it continuously and explain it in a thorough manner so y'all can understand it.
Imagine being able to build anything just by thinking about it. Meet Base 44.
Look under any YouTube video of Simu Liu and you'll see commenters praising his charisma. He's new to being an A-list celebrity.
My problems. Now, It has been an absolute pleasure. Thank you so much
Thank
for
you.
being so much fun.
Thank you so much.
That was one hell of an intro.
Thank you.
One other quick tip for entering a conversation well once COVID is over, you'll want to lead with some form of touch. Depending on the setting, that can be anything from a handshake to a big bear hug. So for example, when you walk into a meeting, rather than wave, shake everyone's hand. It takes
Yeah, see, that's what we call a greeting, right? So, if you're attending an interview or whatever, if you're attending anything, right? First impression, right? Think about it, y'all. The first time you meet somebody, you want to greet them. You want to make sure everything is okay, right? You want to shake their hand. You want to ask them how they're doing. They gonna respond, okay? They gonna respond with how they doing, and based on that specific day, or based on how they feeling, they gonna respond. Then you respond, okay, okay, okay. How can I make it better? Or okay, okay. I see you're on the right path, right? So just wanna you just wanna make somebody feel welcome when you meeting them. You just wanna make them feel welcome. You don't wanna exert too much energy. You don't want to do anything that you feel you have to do. Just let it flow. You don't want to do anything that you feel you have to do. Right? If you gotta if the way you introduce yourself to somebody, if the way you gotta introduce yourself to somebody is more of an aggressive manner, then that would mean that you trying to be something you're not. You're trying to be something you're not. That's exactly the same thing as, right? That's exactly the same thing as me coming across somebody who doesn't look the same as me, and I'm belittling them for not having the same things that I have, right? It's no different than what I just said. So, in that process of you belittling somebody because of the things they don't have, okay, that puts you in a position where this person is level-headed, and keep in mind, it's always somebody who knows something more than you know. So in that process of somebody knowing more than you know, you may come across them, you may not. But if you do come across them, you will be manipulated, because for one, you don't know everything. You don't know everything. This life is all about mysteries and things of that nature, right? So we all have to get in where we fit in, so to say. We all have to learn things in our own way, not in a way that everybody else tells you to learn them, but in a way that's more effective for us. So by me saying that, you ain't got to exert too much dominance. You don't have to be this kind of person. You don't got to be that kind of person. Just be yourself. Just be yourself. Cause I guarantee you that exact person that you're trying to cover up or hide, or whatever the case may be, that's exactly who they're looking for. They're not looking for somebody who has to come outside with the they're not looking for somebody who has to come outside with the cloaked with the cloaked personality, then leave with the cloaked personality, then leave, and you the opposite person that these people just encountered. Nobody wants that kind of person around them. I'm telling you right now. So first impressions are everything, right? You want to make sure, for one, if y'all at a job interview, you want to make sure you sitting up straight. You want to make sure you giving eye contact. You want to make sure you speak like you got some sense. You want to speak like you got some sense. Because one thing about it, a lot of people say, oh, their environment can't change them. Yeah, that's just you being selfish. You're being selfish. You being selfish. I grew up in a not so well regulated environment, but my environment didn't stop me from being the person I was. I mean, it's been plenty of times where it could have, but my environment didn't stop me from being the person I am. What stopped me from being the person I was me. That's what stopped me, bro. That's what stopped me. Not my environment. I did that. So by me saying that, your environment does have a impact on your social complex, right? Your mind. It does have an impact on your mind, but it's not like change is impossible. Change is always possible. Change is always possible to those who see it as real, right? But if you see change as something like a star in the sky that's too far to reach, then you know but yeah, that's my video on first impressions. I'm probably gonna drop a few more today just to inform y'all, just to keep the energy flowing. But I'm out. Quick, fast, in a hurry. You know that.